Hi guys, Beetlejuice here, and today we have another race, this time on Donington Park using this Skoda Cup car from 2008. And lights are still on, and then
Let's
lights
go.
out, and away we go. For the moment, the cars vanished, but no harm done. So, going into turn one, we will choose the outside line because there's guys on my inside. So going into turn number one, would we get killed? Yes, we do. Of
Clear
course.
left.
I think that. So from 8th place, we went down to last place. So we have a lot of ground to make up here. And
Let's
the
see what we
pack
can
is
salvage from this,
so
mate.
far ahead now. But let's see. It's 30 minutes. Anything can happen. Racing is just racing teaches us to not give up, so that's what I'm going to do on this race. And by the way, this race is organized by the pit crew, and this event is called the pit crew's Assetto Corsa Tuesday. So from the name itself, it's going to be held every Tuesday every
Car left,
week
clear
as
left.
we get
Yellow flag,
past a
watch
guy
out.
who went off. So one position gained by doing nothing. So once again, it's from the pit crew, Assetto Corsa Tuesdays. And for this particular week, we are using the Skoda Cup course. And also, just to add, they race they race different cars every week, so it doesn't get boring. And now going into the hairpin, here we go. Another guy went off, and 2 positions gained in lap number 1 after getting punted. We are now 11th place going to lap number 2. So yeah, basically just stay consistent, just be less aggressive. Although to be fair, I was less aggressive on the first lap, but I just got rear-ended for some reason.
P11.
Anyways, again, going into turn 1 again, braking on the third marker, and trying to hit the apex, of course. Run wide as much as you can without incurring track limits. And we are now chasing the 10th place David Novakovic, whilst we are getting I think we're not getting chased though, as we make a mistake. And to be honest, that's one of the toughest corners for me. It's like you need more momentum going in there, or in other words, you need more commitment going into that corner. You need to commit more entry speed so that you can, you know, go through there in the most optimal manner. Because if you go down there slow, it will hurt your lap times. And so far so good. And about the car is so fun to drive. Although when you use the base setup, the
Yellow flag, keep your
rears
exit value,
tends
mate.
to get away from you. It tends to step out, so I have to tune it in a way that the rears doesn't step out. And we see some dicing onto the hairpin. P9 P9 guy goes very wide. Meanwhile,
The
will
lead is pretty
David
now.
go for the lunge on the final turn?
Yellow flag,
And
caution.
he decided against it. And as another car went
On your
off
right, clear
on
right.
the hairpin, we gain another position. We are now P10, I think. So we are now P10. And we have now
P10.
closed the gap against this gaggle of cars here. We decided to just take a look, but I didn't make the lunge because obviously I will cause an accident if I do that. And needless to say, after that shunt, the race is becoming pretty clean, and the field is becoming spread out. And again, we get closer to Mr. David Novakovic, as he is also chasing Andy. I can't pronounce his name, as he goes off, and we
On your
gain another
left, clear
position. So
left.
basically free real estate for us. Like we're like I'm like a son of a rich person. I'm just inheriting things without any effort. But then
Yellow
again,
flag. Watch out.
that's part of racing. If you make a mistake, you'll get passed on, of course. Going into the chicane, just braking
Watch your rear tyres. They're pretty cold.
after the building on the left hand side. And we are now in P9. We started. I'd rather we were punted into last place, and now we are making our way through the field. And so far, I think we have more pace than Mr. David Novakovic. On to the final turn, and we are now a car length behind.
The gap behind is now 1.8
And we are now
seconds.
in a way applying
Sector 1 is
pressure
1.1 off the
to
pace.
David
Sector 2 is
Novakovic. As we
0.9.
take a launch down the inside, we go.
Hold your
Just
line.
maintaining the racing line on there. We are still side by side, wheel to wheel action here, going into
Still there. Clear left.
the few kings. However, we got overtaken. I think I missed a gear there. I missed or rather I made a mistake switching gears, and that's why we fell behind, and now he is farther away from us after that mistake. And whilst we made that mistake, it's impressive that we are we are catching the gaggle of cars, the three guys ahead, despite us fighting on that opening on the opening of that last lap of the, or rather this lap of the opening of this lap.
Yellow flag.
And again, braking just after the building on the left hand side, going into the chicane. We indeed cut the chicane there, and fortunately there's no penalty. And to be honest, there's no penalty here. You can cut the track as long as you're not seen.
You're locking your right rear. The leader is just
And why
done
do
a
I know that?
146.
Because I watched the
So,
replay, and then I saw some guys who's racing nobody, and they're cutting the track, but they're still in last place. So that baffles me. Like, you're cutting the track and you're still not gaining on the next guy in front of you. I mean,
That's your
if
quickest
you're
lap in this
cutting
session.
the track, just sell the wheel. You're not into the hobby. You're just there to win. You're just there you're just there to comfort your ego. And yeah, personally, I was like that before. Like, I'm only sim racing to win, but then I realized the fun of racing, like applying racecraft and being really careful not to kill another guy, as we made another mistake on that corner. And as I've said a while ago, I'm having trouble on that particular corner because you need a lot of commitment taking that corner. And those cars are now fighting each other. They are now dicing each other, those four cars in front of us. And going into this first turn, this is not going to end good. And yes, it did not end good. Another guy almost got killed, and it was David. So
Right side.
the car
Right.
from the outside turned in like nobody's on his inside. So that's why we download Heli Corsa. So once again, guys, use Heli Corsa to prevent those kinds of accidents, as we nonchalantly cut the chicane again. And we are now trying to place our car
Left side.
defensively so that we will not get
Hold your line,
repassed by
clear left.
Mr. David. And
On your
these
left,
two
clear
guys
left.
are having a
Far left.
battle here.
Clear left.
And because of that, we gained 3 places. We indeed gained 3 places. So again, that's the beauty of being clean when it comes to racing. You get rewarded
Okay, Rocky. The next car is
every now and then. So basically what happened in
Sixth
that
place.
corner is just, I think the guy behind had a much faster turn in, and he decided to not lift. And when you don't lift, and that will cause a collision. especially when you have a much faster turn in against the other guy. I did that before also, but I learned how to not do that. And as we made another mistake, the other guy also mimics our mistake, and they are now
There's
off.
20
Actually,
minutes to go,
four of
20
them,
minutes.
or rather, three of them are off, and the guys behind are really dicing hard. Some door-to-door action there. Actually, it's not just door-to-door. And as we are getting pressured, I think I'm going to let this guy go. Or yeah, we let this guy go because we made a mistake of our own. So going back to those three guys are really dicing.
Okay, stay with it.
Like it's not just door to door. They're really trying to kill each other there. But nonetheless, going into the chicane again, and the other guy, the guy who
Yellow
just
flag.
passed
Your rear
us,
tyres are
just
cold.
locked up and went into the shadow realm. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about earlier, guys. Like the car will kill you if you brake too hard, or the car's rears will always step out every time, especially when you lock the brakes. And that's the reason why I tuned this car to not do that. If you're going to ask me how I tuned it, I forgot because this race was from a week ago, and I'm saving it for a commentary. And at the same time, I'm not usually commentating on all of my races. Usually I commentate on races that are interesting, as we went wide there and we um, horribly missed the apex. Although we are now at least chasing down this next guy in front of us, who is also locking up. And I think his rears also stepped out. So yeah, that's why I'm talking about the rears will likely to step out every time you lock brakes going into a corner. So yeah, you have to be really careful driving this types of cars. And as we see him in the distance, he's getting bigger and bigger, needless to say.
We're seeing lots of right rear locking. Yellow flag. Watch out. All right, Rocky. You're reeling. Newman in. The gap is
We're
now
also chasing him,
3.7
and this
seconds.
is his weak spot. This is the part of the track where he is weakest. See, every time we go through this chicane, he gets bigger and bigger, and we are closing the gap. Not in a very rapid way, but just enough to catch him before the end of the race. And again, going into this hairpin, I think he is struggling with the brakes, and one way, if you're using a car that doesn't have ABS, one way um to remedy that situation is to either um reduce the braking power
Next lap of the
or
session.
adjust the brake bias, depending on which tires are locking up. As we go through this apex, we go sideways there, but nonetheless, we are still chasing the fifth place guy. We are slowly inching closer to the rears of this fifth place guy. Again, going into this corner. Okay, again, we are going sideways. Although the delta is positive here, we are now improving our lap times. So probably the factor for that is the track evolution. Sometimes
Your tyre temperatures look good.
the longer we use the track, the faster it gets. At least that's how I put it. Again, going into this corner, we are now gaining. We are now 4 tenths up on our personal best. No, we are 2 tenths up from our personal best. And again, you will be chasing him through the chicane. This is the part where he is weakest. As you can see, we are actually chasing him hard here. And again, he gets bigger on our windshields. Brake on the second marker, hit the I think it's much optimal if you take that hairpin and do a late apex instead of what I did there. then brake up before the end of the curve. Again, late apex, power down the exit, and again we are chasing him.
The gap behind's increased to
The gap
6.7.
is
Okay,
just
Rocky, 15 minutes
two
left. That's
seconds,
15 minutes.
or rather
We're
1
halfway
second,
home. Fuel will be
1.1
tight. We think
seconds
you'll get to the end, but we're not
against
sure.
this guy, who is again locking the brakes up. He's really working the brakes. But at the moment it's a mano a mano race. It's a 1v1 between me and him. No other racers are near us. Neither from the front and the back. We are alone here, so I don't need to worry about third parties or other people coming in, lunging in down the inside. I'm at the same time I'm also taking my time. I don't want to commit or cause an accident and then make the other guys catch up. That's the worst thing that I could do here. So I'm taking this cautiously. Right. As we go down again to this chicane, and he locks up. He had the moment there, and he had to really slow down, and
We've just had a
also we
warning for
had
cutting
to
the track.
hit the
You're
brakes
reeling,
hard
Newman,
because otherwise we
in. The
will
gap
rear
is
end him.
0.5.
And again, going sideways. See, this car really likes to step out. It really likes to step out. So that's why we have to tune it every time. And braking before the end of the curve, and he is struggling mightily. He is struggling mightily. He is on the grass. I don't know if we are having an effect psychologically towards the driver in front of us, but at least I'm happy that he is making mistakes, because if he is making mistakes, it means that he is pressured. Just like what we're doing here, we are trying to actually pressure him now into a mistake by closing up on the rears.
Okay, Rocky, you've used half your fuel.
Anyways, we did make a mistake there, and now it's our turn to go sideways.
P6.
And because of that mistake, we lost out again a wheel on him, so we're not really adding any pressure against him right now because we made a mistake of our own, and that is something I need to improve, and that is not making mistakes while giving pressure to the guy in front, because it defeats the purpose of pressuring the guy in front if I'm making mistakes myself. And also I'm not entitled to make a mistake, as he makes again another huge lockup coming from Sasha Newman. Going back to what I said, it defeats the purpose of giving pressure if I make a mistake, and also I don't have any right to make mistakes because there's absolutely no driver behind me. Anyways, going back into the race, would we make a launch here? Yes, we do. We launched down the inside. We go. We went
Clear
wide.
right,
A
on your
bit of
left.
contact from the rear.
Clear left.
And the switchback has been completed by Mr. Sasha Newman. What a move going into that hairpin. And I admit that's a bit of a lunge, but there was a gap. I felt like the gap was there. So, and during this time, I am confident that I am the much faster driver between the two of us. So what not, send it down the inside and see what happens. So again, he locks up, went wide, missed the apex, although I had a better exit because my exit was compromised because I have to delay the throttle input because I might hit him. And again we are just riding, like just chilling from the back. But then again, as I've said over and over, We are much stronger going into the chicane. As you can see there, again.
Your rears are
And
cold.
we are now
Newman,
nursing
your
damage.
front
Yeah,
is
I
now
remember this.
0.7. 10 minutes
I
remaining. 10 minutes.
damaged the
Okay, Rocky,
engine
there'll be chances here. Let's make
going
sure
into
we can
that
take 'em.
sweeping right-hander, the downhill right-hander.
You're locking your right rear.
Yeah, so far so good. So good racing. No, no killing, no dirty moves, and at the same time, I'm really keeping my composure here, and also trying to mind my inputs because the engine is damaged. I don't want to retire due to my engine blowing up. That's the worst thing that could happen. And again, braking. This time I'm braking before the third marker because of the tires. I think the tires is starting to die on this particular part of the race, and it's the latter stages, so the tires obviously is dying. As you can see there, again we are going sideways. We are mimicking what the other guy is doing in front, and again he got away from us, which is really frustrating if you're trying to chase another guy, like especially when there's nobody behind. This is really frustrating, like making mistakes while nobody's behind me. But then again, we are banking on the fact that we are much stronger going into the chicane. So yeah, I think our best was a 149. A 149s. Oh yeah, the best lap we did was a 149.3. Actually, in practice, I was doing 148 flats. So that's another point of improvement there and that is to replicate the fast lap times that I do in practice, and translate and convert it into the real race. Because to be honest, I was doing 148s on practice, but during this race, I was on the
You've got the
149s
right.
for
The
some
gap behind
reason.
is now 7.3.
Again, braking before the third marker because of tires, and again, the delta is positive. We are now on the 148s, 148.9 to be exact, and we are now catching to Mr. Sasha Newman. Braking on the first marker, we took a much sharper line because I felt during that time that there's much more grip on the middle of the road. I don't know, but that's just me. Again, we are now struggling a bit on tires. We are going a bit sideways as we go here on this next corner. Actually, that corner is very tricky to take because it's uphill, meaning you're blind.
The leader's just done a
So you're
146.
blind going up there. So if it's your first time on the track, it can be quite a task going into that corner as we almost go into the back of Mr. Sasha Newman. Fortunately, we hit the brakes
The gap to Newman
hard,
ahead
and
is
again,
now 0.5.
our weapon is the way we take the chicane
Left side.
every time. And as we go
Hold your line.
through this hairpin, there again another
Hold your
contact.
line.
He turned in as if I'm not there.
Hold your line.
I admit it was a bit of a
Hold your
lunge,
line.
but then again he was slow
Still
going into
there.
that hairpin. But anyways,
Clear left.
I'm
Okay,
giving
Rocky,
him
10
respect and
minutes
not
of fuel remaining.
giving him space and enough respect going into that hairpin because again I don't want to crash out. I want to keep
Great
this
stuff. Keep it coming,
battle
mate.
going
P6.
on. I need to need I need to get this
Far left,
battle
clear left.
going as much as I could. Not not just for the content but also because I am enjoying it. During this I was really enjoying it, man. Like fighting for several laps or fighting for half of the race. In fact, as he again went sideways and we are now
Car right.
going side by side going
Still there.
onto the grass, and fortunately he's
Still
giving
there.
us enough respect to not put us
Hold your line.
into
Clear
the
right.
grass so hard, and he's really giving us space during that particular
That's 5
sequence,
minutes to go.
but
5 minutes.
we lost out because he had the inside line. Needless to say, the battle has been close. The battle has been intense between the two of us, and now we are now sitting on his slipstream, and we will make another launch down the inside.
Right
We
side.
brake
Clear
too
right.
early, but then again we brake too late, and we cut the chicane again.
Track limits.
On your
But that
right.
slowed us down really bad, and now he's
Hold your
ahead
line.
of us
Clear
again,
right.
and I will now go to the right hand side, brake much
On your
later,
left.
modulate the brakes, make sure we're
Clear
ahead
left.
going
Car
into the
right.
hairpin, but we are now going side by
Still
side.
there.
Fortunately,
Hold your line.
we have the
Clear
inside
right.
line. So we have the inside line now going on, placing my car in the middle of the track, going into this hairpin, keeping it really tight, as close to the curb as much as possible to prevent him from re-passing us on the pit straight. And now we are much farther ahead, and now the tables have turned. It's now our turn to get pressured from behind, and as we made another mistake, crucial mistake, by missing the apex, and the tires are going off as we speak. The tires are going off. 'Cause the tires doesn't feel that good on this part of the race, and with 3 minutes to go, would we hold on for P5? Let's see. Again, we made a mistake followed by another mistake, and he is now giving us pressure from behind to commemorate Pride Month. No pun intended. And again, he tries to pass us on that corner. That will not do because we are defending hard. And again, we missed the apex. We are going sideways, almost going into
On
the
your
grass.
left.
But
Clear
he,
left.
on the other hand, he took so much grass and he went into the gravel trap as well. So it slowed him down, and that's it. Maybe that's it. I think we have won the battle. We have won the battle against Sasha Newman for P5 with 2 minutes 37
Car ahead's
seconds to
pitting now.
go. And again, at this point, I'm taking it uh, I'm taking it really easy on the car because, as I've said, we have engine damage. We don't want to retire because of an engine blowing out. But again, looking back to that battle, wow, it was amazing. Like, we were really respectful against each other. He was giving me space, I was giving
That's
him
2 minutes
space.
left. 2 minutes.
Although there were times that it got a little bit argy-bargy, we still managed to not take each other out, and that's the most important thing. And probably that's the best battle I've had in recent memory. And also, guys, if you're enjoying the race, enjoying the action, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. That will help the algorithm pretty much. Thank you so much, guys. And again, heading down to the last 1 minute, the final minute of the race. We are just trying to manage the car, and try to be careful when it comes to our inputs because, as I've said,
Yellow
we
flag.
have
Keep your wits
engine
about you, mate.
damage.
Okay, Rocky. We estimate you've got 5 minutes of fuel
And
remaining.
if I will rate this race, 9 out of 10. Could have been 10 out of 10 if I wasn't, if I didn't get the shunt from turn 1. But then again, those things happen. Everybody makes mistakes, but at the same time, it's frustrating. I mean, I worked hard to get P8 in qualifying, all to be taken away because one guy ended me on lap 1 at turn 1. Again, there's an extra lap. Now going into this final lap.
One more lap to go.
We are now on fumes in terms of fuel. And guys, if you want a fun car to drive on the Assetto Corsa, I think you should consider this car. Or if you're trying to host a league, maybe you should consider this car in your league, because it's a really fun car to drive. Like just look at me being an idiot making mistakes every corner. Yeah, I mean, the harder the car is, the fun it is to drive and more rewarding it is to drive. And now we are now down on some fuel. Hopefully we have enough. And again, that's the beauty of sim racing. It forces us to do mathematics. It forces us to do mathematics. I
Yellow
mean, you
flag,
can,
watch out.
at the end of the day, you can just put 100% fuel, but it will slow you down. Like, and at the end of the day, we need as much as advantage as we could get, and one way
Warning about track limits.
of getting more advantage is to calculate the fuel accurately. I mean, just calculate, just put in the fuel just enough to make it to the last lap. And as we are now approaching the final turn, we are now going to bag P5. It was a hell of a race. We got shunted on turn 1. We fought back from last place, and yeah, it was a fun race. So yeah, that's the end of the race, guys.
There's the finish. Good
Again,
drive.
this is from the pit crew, Assetto Corsa Tuesdays. And that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching, and see you on the next one.